Nation, this is the moment to remember who we are. Eagle. Because here in Philadelphia, nothing has ever come easy. We learned to fight when everyone doubted us, to rise when the world said it was over. This team carries the spirit of the city, built by hard workers, believers who never quit, and people who never turn away from a challenge. But today, there are questions in the air. The run game, once the heartbeat of this offense, feels different. The whole city is talking, trying to understand what's happening in the trenches, the very place where Philadelphia's pride was built for so many years. Still, there's hope. The talent is there, the fight is there, and the leader of this offense keeps proving why he's the face of this franchise. The calm, the intelligence, the strength in crucial moments, you don't teach that. It's something you're born with. So before we dive into this breakdown, make sure to hit that like button to support the channel, and I humbly ask you to drop a comment below. Eagles, my heart bleeds green and white. Go Eagles! When you look at this Eagles offense right now, there's one question that keeps echoing around the city. What's going on with the run game? Week after week, fans are asking the same thing. Is Saquon Barkley washed? Has he hit a wall? Is he feeling the effects of carrying an enormous workload in 2024 when he won Offensive Player of the Year and put together one of the most dominant running back seasons we've ever seen? Or is this about something deeper, something in the trenches that's holding him back? Because when you break down the numbers, it's hard to ignore how different things look for Saquon in 2025. Through 7 games, he's at 113 carries for 369 yards, averaging just 3.3 yards per carry, with 3 rushing touchdowns. Not once this season has he hit 100 scrimmage yards in a game. For a player of his caliber, that's stunning. Now, let's put that in perspective. In the first 7 games of last season, Barkley had 130 carries for 766 yards, a 5.9 yards per carry average, and 5 touchdowns. The contrast is massive, but when you actually watch the tape, this doesn't look like a running back who's slowing down. The explosiveness is there. The burst, the pull-away speed, the balance through contact, all of it. You still see the same quick jump cuts, the same deadly spin moves that made him a nightmare for defenders last year. The difference isn't Saquon, it's the blocking in front of him. Plain and simple, the Eagles' offensive line has not lived up to its reputation this season. This is supposed to be one of the most talented O-lines in football, veterans who've been to war together, linemen who set the tone with their physicality. Yet this year, they've struggled to get that downhill push that defines Philadelphia football. The stats tell the story. Saquon ranks 27th in the NFL in yards before contact per carry. That means defenders are getting to him almost immediately. His stuffed run percentage, runs that go for 0 or negative yards, ranks second to last in the league. And when you look at team metrics like run block win rate, the Eagles sit at 24th, pressure rate, 25th, pass block win rate, 19th. For an organization that built its identity in the trenches, that's unacceptable. Last year, on average, Barkley was getting nearly 4 yards before first contact, 3.8 to be exact. That's how dominant this line was. This year, that number is down by 2 full yards, 6 feet of lost space before a defender lays a hand on him. In 2024, when he rushed for 2,005 yards, over 1,300 of those came before contact. This season, only 205 of his 369 yards have come before contact. That's a dramatic shift in how this offense is functioning. Of course, Saquon himself has admitted he can do a better job of taking what's there, not always hunting for the home run play. But when you're being hit the moment you take the handoff, there's not much of a chance to do anything else. And that's what we've been seeing, defenders collapsing gaps instantly, plays blown up before they even start. This isn't about him losing a step, it's about a line that's failing to create space. But let's pivot to another topic that's been dominating conversations across the fan base, Jalen Hurts. The noise around him has been relentless. Comments flooding social media, videos going viral, people twisting narratives. Some fans even accused analysts of calling for Hurts to be benched, when that was never the case. It's just the reality of today's online world. Clips pulled out of context, takes exaggerated for engagement. The truth is, no one who's watched this team closely could possibly think Hurts isn't the guy. He's the heartbeat of this offense, and honestly, one of the biggest reasons the Eagles are sitting at 5-2 right now. Hurts himself admitted he needed to play better earlier in the season, and he has. Quietly, methodically, he's worked himself right back into the MVP conversation. Since week 3, among all quarterbacks in the league, Hurts ranks 3rd in touchdown-to-interception ratio at 11-1, 4th in total offensive touchdowns, 4th in passing touchdowns, 4th in yards per attempt at 8.3, 5th in total yards, and 5th in passer rating at 115. Those are elite numbers, and when you factor in his leadership, his command of the offense, and his poise in critical moments, it's clear why teammates and coaches still believe in him completely. He even made Eagles history. Through 7 games, his passer rating of 108.9 is the highest ever for any quarterback in team history. That's not something you do if you're regressing. That's something you do when you've adjusted, locked in, and found your rhythm in the face of criticism. And if anyone still doubts his mental sharpness, all you need to do is rewatch the biggest play from Sunday's win over the Vikings. 3rd down, ball on the 37. The Eagles could have run it to drain clock, but Hurts recognized an opportunity to end the game right there. From the shotgun, he pointed toward A.J. Brown, drawing Isaiah Rodgers' attention. That subtle gesture faked Rodgers into thinking Brown was running an inside route, but it was all misdirection. Brown broke outside, Rodgers bit inside, and by the time he recovered, it was over. Hurts stood tall against pressure, threw off his back foot, and dropped a perfect deep ball right into the bucket, a kill shot that sealed the win. That's high-level quarterbacking. That's a player in complete control. So when people question Hurts, they're missing what's actually happening. A quarterback growing even more dangerous, even more calculated, even more confident. The chemistry between him and A.J. Brown is electric, and when the offensive line gets its act together, this offense could easily return to being one of the most feared in football. Because make no mistake, if the Eagles want to reach the level everyone in this city expects, it all starts up front. Everything this offense does, from Hurts' rhythm as a passer to Saquon's explosiveness as a runner, depends on those 5 guys setting the tone. Right now, they're not doing that consistently enough. You can see it on film. Too many plays where the interior linemen are getting stood up or pushed back, too many missed assignments and zone blocking looks, and too much hesitation when defenses stunt or blitz through the A-gap. It's disrupting the flow, forcing Hurts to rush reads, and putting Barkley in impossible positions. And that's the thing, this group isn't supposed to be average. These are Pro Bowl caliber players. They're veterans who know what championship-level football looks like. Jason Kelce's retirement left a void, and it's showing. Communication on protection calls has been inconsistent. The chemistry between the center and guards hasn't settled yet, and that's hurting their ability to pick up interior pressure. Landon Dickerson and Cam Jurgens have had their flashes, but you can tell they're still adjusting to working together without Kelce's voice guiding the line calls. When you're used to that level of leadership for so long, it takes time to find the same cohesion. The Eagles are still 5-2, and that's what makes this situation so intriguing. They're winning, but they're not playing their best football. They've shown flashes of dominance, especially when Hurts and Brown connect downfield, but there's a lingering frustration among fans who know this team's ceiling is much higher. Imagine if the run game were clicking the way it was last season. Imagine if Barkley were consistently getting 3 or 4 yards before contact instead of being hit behind the line. Suddenly, this offense wouldn't just be efficient, it would be terrifying again. And that's where the coaching staff comes in. Brian Johnson and Nick Sirianni have to find creative ways to get Barkley in space. More toss plays, more misdirection, more designed runs that let him get outside the tackles. The straight-ahead zone runs aren't working behind a line that isn't creating lanes. Barkley's at his best when he can use vision and patience to read the field, not when he's forced to lower his shoulder into a wall of defenders. When you give him that space, he still looks like the guy who tore up the league a year ago. At the same time, the Eagles can't afford to put everything on Hurts' shoulders. Yes, he's been phenomenal, but we've seen how that story goes. When a quarterback becomes the entire offense, defenses catch up, and hits start to pile up. The balance has to return, because when the Eagles can control the clock with the ground game and set up play action, they become nearly unstoppable. It's the same formula that took them to a Super Bowl 2 years ago. Still, it's hard not to be encouraged by what Hurts has done recently. That throw to A.J. Brown against Minnesota wasn't just a highlight, it was a statement. It showed the trust, the timing, the understanding between quarterback and receiver that few duos in the league share. Hurts manipulated the defense before the snap, adjusted mid-play under pressure, and made an elite throw with precision. It's moments like that where you realize he's not just growing, he's mastering the position. And that's why it's so fascinating to watch the way this team evolves. They've got the pieces. The quarterback is playing smart, confident football. The receivers are elite. The defense is keeping them in games. If the offensive line rediscovers its rhythm and the running game wakes up, this team could go on a serious run. Because when Philadelphia plays complementary football, when the offense is feeding off the defense and vice versa, there aren't many teams in the league that can handle them. You can feel it in the city. The fans know this team hasn't even scratched its full potential yet. The frustration comes from high expectations, and that's a good thing. That means this fan base still believes. They know what championship caliber football looks like because they've seen it, and they can sense this roster is built to get back there. The story of this season isn't written yet. There's still time for the offensive line to fix its issues, for Barkley to find his rhythm, and for Hurts to keep building on what's already shaping up to be another special year. But the margin for error is shrinking. The NFC is brutal. Every game matters. And if the Eagles want to prove they're still one of the elite, they've got to clean up the small things, the missed blocks, the pre-snap confusion, the lack of push up front, before those cracks turn into something bigger. This team is too talented to settle for good enough. They know it. The fans know it. And maybe that's what makes the weeks ahead so exciting, because if the Eagles finally get that offensive line firing again, if Saquon starts hitting holes like he did last season, if the run game starts complementing Hurts' passing attack, then we're going to see the version of this team that everyone's been waiting for. Because this feels like the kind of crossroads moment that can shape an entire season. The numbers, the execution, the frustration, all of it points to one truth. This team is close. Painfully close. They've already shown the resilience to respond after losses. The leadership in the locker room is strong. And Jalen Hurts has proven once again that he thrives when the pressure is highest. You can sense that hunger every time he steps on the field. The way he studies defenses, the way he commands the huddle. This is a quarterback who refuses to let the standard slip. But leadership alone can't mask the flaws. The offensive line has to take ownership. And knowing this group, they will. They've been through too many battles not to. Veterans like Lane Johnson know what accountability means in Philadelphia. They know this city demands toughness, not excuses. It's the same mindset that built the identity of this team, one forged in grit, pride, and the belief that every inch on that field has to be earned. If they can get that edge back, if they can start winning in the trenches again, everything changes. Barkley's numbers won't just climb. The entire offense will open up. The play action becomes lethal, the tempo shifts, and suddenly defenses are on their heels instead of attacking downhill. And when that happens, when the Eagles